I'm about to make a abstract painting. I don't know why I felt like sharing the process a little bit, but I haven't done an abstract this large before, so the only other large-ish abstract I've done is probably about half this size, and that was over 10 years ago when I was a teenager. Really been drawn to abstract lately, and I was like, I've never done a big one. I did do another one. The Delicate Dots piece is technically very minimalistic abstract. I really love how that one turned out. So I guess I have done a slightly big one before in the recent years. So tonight I'm going to play around with putting some texture on it. I'm going to be using modeling paste. I've been really drawn to abstracts lately. I used to kind of push against them, I think just out of this thought that I am not like a talented artist if I do abstract. We get these weird thoughts in our heads. Who knows where they come from? And I think it's because it's so easy for me. And it's so relaxing and free-flowing because there's no rules. You're not trying to make it look like anything in particular. And so I guess because it felt too easy and too enjoyable that it shouldn't be pursued, or that it's not like pushing my boundaries and challenging myself. But I think that doing an abstract piece large is kind of a challenge. I've got this really nice tripod, and I got a really nice camera to go with it too. I've spent a lot of time working for money to invest into my art business. See, look, isn't this sweet? I got it secondhand and it had this really pretty strap. I'm super thankful to have the material possessions that I have, the ones that are useful. I guess I'm thankful of all of them, but particularly some of the nicer things that I have for my art, like this camera and my computer. I've been using modeling paste kind of in the opposite way of what it was made for, to create smooth surfaces, but it's really good for texture, and I'm pretty sure that's what it's made for. But I used to spend a lot of time putting on modeling paste layers and sanding them down smooth, and my hands would cramp. And I love the look of it, but it's just maybe a little bit too much work. Like I said, I haven't always been on board with what's easy. I mean, I love easiness, but I would just think like work as hard as you can. And so I kind of view that as like a part of my artist career. Basically, I guess what I mean is the artwork that has that smooth background, it's not like the same art that I'm making now, so it has its different value, and a lot of it's unsold currently. Anyways, I just mean that it's still available for purchase, and it's kind of a collectible in a sense. Like, I was hanging out my artwork in town today, and I hung up some work that I created like 15 years ago. And I found it, you know, coming home back to Virginia after I'd been away for like 8 years. I feel like whoever buys those are kind of like collectibles, probably. I'm really looking forward to doubling down on my focus on the arts. I've worked really hard to develop a focus around art. It's not always easy. Life gets so busy and distracting. Even drama happens. It's so distracting, and it's such a waste of time to be distracted or to get caught up in drama. Anyways, I've worked hard to develop this creative interest where I'm always interested in pushing my creativity to a deeper understanding and experimentation and enjoyment. So because of all the practice I put in, I know that I can focus even more. It takes practice to create an art practice. You have to learn about yourself and learn like why you're not painting or why you do paint. You have to kind of sift through all of those very odd thoughts that an artist might get, such as me, where I literally feel guilt sometimes for being at the easel, or oddly enough, I'll also feel its opposite, where I'll feel guilt when I'm not at the easel. And I feel like only an artist is going to understand that. Like, I don't know. It's hard to really explain. I come and go through phases where I'll be painting every day, such as when I first began the career seriously, and then I'll be like, well, I'm too busy, I've got a lot of the art admin stuff to do, but I really, at this point in my life, want to create a everyday practice where I create every day, I practice every day in some way, and not judge myself if that's what I want, or think I'm crazy over it, because like, I kind of don't function well if I'm not making art, and I think that's kind of weird because it's like a lot of people function well and they don't have art, so what gets them going? And I think we're just all different. I'm using up this other medium, a gloss bead gel medium. There's like the tiniest little bit left. I bought it for the 7 Pillars of Wisdom. I bought it not knowing what it was for, and then I came up with that idea, and I just so perfectly had this medium already for the leaves of that tree to be 3-dimensional, because the trunk is also 3-dimensional, and so is the water in that piece. Wow. It is absolutely pouring. I've really been contemplating a lot. I mean, I always contemplate, but man, so much has happened this year for me, so, and I guess so much happens every year. Yeah, it's hard to really put into words. I mean, at this point, there aren't really words for all that I've been learning. I do believe that I feel better. I actually have this super great idea for mixed media. I've been doing sculptures lately with ceramics, and I've also been doing sculptures with wood. And they're more flat sculptures with wood, but it would be cool to mix them together and maybe add in some fiber arts too. Fiber arts are just so slow. That would be like anything with yarn or string. I braided some string for like a hanging string for this one other piece, balancing the releasing of control, or the elementalist. I have mixed feelings about it. It sat undone for a very, very long time. Just glad I didn't destroy it, because this is kind of like the wooden sculpture I'm talking about. I really love working with heavily textured things. I've done a lot of artwork that's pretty heavily textured. I just don't do it all the time because I feel like it's kind of wasteful, with also, it does get expensive, you know, if you're doing it a lot. I'm sculpting some abstracts. I have an abstract sculpture for sale on my website. It's ceramic, and I'm making more abstracts. That one is multimedia because it's fiber arts and ceramics. I'm super, I guess, proud of myself for mixing mediums in such a way. I think it could be the beginnings of something really cool in the future. So I do have some exciting news. I have another book of poetry on the way, and I think part of like investing so much time and money into my art, I can just say that I'm really proud of that investment. If I go to my website, I can see that I have everything that I wanted, these goals I had, and I've worked towards them and worked really hard to like have drop shipping on my website, have all these different products, clothing, and buying all that clothing and testing it out and putting it all on there, and stickers and pins and a book, my first book, so this is gonna be my second one. And I'm not like tying up my worth into that, but I can see that and I can remember that I'm actually pursuing my life the way that I want to. I don't really have control. Part of that releasing the balance or balancing the releasing of control is that we don't have control. And I think that's one thing. I mean, I put it in a painting. I actually painted a poem. I spelled a word wrong, but I painted a poem onto a $4,000 piece, and there's this word spelled wrong on it, but anyways, it kind of was fitting anyways, kind of like a play on words.